Hello everyone and welcome to Sinful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all getting a chance to fight that war against the Grey. Today we've got another video in our Start Collecting series, a series where we look at the various Start Collecting boxes available for Age of Sigmar armies and give you a sort of a rundown of what's inside the box, how this will help start your army, and also after that, where we can go from this Start Collecting box to help build your army into something cool, unique and flavorful. Today though, we're looking at another Stormcast Eternals Start Collecting box, and this time we're looking at the Stormcast Vanguard box set. This is a later release of Stormcast, and these Stormcast, unlike the other sort of Stormcast, are a sort of Vanguard force that fights ahead of the rest of the main Stormcast forces. And they're scouts, assassins, and fast-moving cavalry, and all that sort of stuff that you would assume goes with like that sort of scout recon sort of force. They're quite an interesting army, and unlike the rest of the Stormcast, they're not quite as cut and paste of like hold and take. These guys require a bit more planning, a bit more tactics, and a little bit more sort of nous when you play with them. They not quite as forgiving as other Stormcasts, but they also can do quite a lot more if you really dig into doing the army. So let's have a look at what is inside the box, and we'll start with the hero here. This is a Lord Aquila. He's the dude in the center of the picture with the sword sort of poking out there. He's mounted atop what is known as a Griff Charger, which are sort of lithe and nimble mini griffins, and they are really cool beasts. He on top, of course, is no slouch in combat. He's a Stormcast Eternal hero. It's what you expect from him. And the Griff Charger does have some cool abilities, like the ability to move around called Ride the Winds Etheric, which allows you to forego normal movement and instead roll 6d6, so 6 dice, and move that many inches around the table. You can't do a lot after you do this, but it is some really cool abilities and works really great late in game. What's also cool too is his command ability allows you to pick up nearby units and move them with him when he rides the Winds Etheric. It's a really cool ability and can be used to pick up some of the other units in your army and get the less mobile units of the Vanguard chamber moving around with him. But let's look at the units inside the box, and we'll start with the Vanguard Hunters. These are the 5 guys on foot. You can arm them with crossbows, come on them regardless, but they also come with the option to have swords or axes, but that's a bit horses for courses really, and you can pick and choose which one you want really, preferred on probably what you like the look of better. It doesn't really matter all that much, honestly. There's very little difference in it. However, something interesting about this unit is they can have an item called the Astral Compass, which allows them to come on from a board edge. This allows them to drop on 7 inch away, but they have to come on within a certain distance from a board edge. It does allow them to get in range, shoot those crossbows off, and make a nice, easy charge into something if there's something juicy within 7 inch. You know, that unit holding the objective late game that's only got a couple models left. Vanguard Hunters can jump on and get rid of what's left of that unit. It's quite a cool sort of thing to be able to do. The next unit we're going to have a look at, and then you can see 3 of them roaming around. These are called Griffhounds. Griffhounds are like tiny little griffin dogs. They're so amazing. When I first saw Griffhounds in Age of Sigmar, I was in love. They're just so cool. I've actually painted one up like my Dalmatian that I have here at home. And I've seen plenty of other people paint them up like their beloved pets at home. It's quite fun. The main thing to know about this is, unfortunately, they're not a full-sized unit. You do need another 3 to make a full unit. You can probably find those hanging around on eBay or various buy swap sell sites pretty easy. Most people have some Griffhounds running about. They're not really a unit that's any sort of major use, but they do have one cool ability, which is they can set up within your lines when opponents deep strike near you or set up near you. They allow shooting units nearby to actually take some shots, which is pretty cool. They definitely have some more use when you combine with some more heavier leaning shooting units, and we'll get into some of that later. But now we'll talk about the last unit inside the box, and this is a Vanguard Paladors. These are the 3 guys you can see mounted atop the Griff Chargers. They're Stormcast on top, and they've got some cool attacks. They're definitely a bit more fighting than the rest of the stuff in this box. They're not like an overly smashy unit though. They are still like scouting force. These are light cavalry, Stormcast light cavalry though, so you get what you expect from that. The Griff Chargers are pretty cool though. They have some mortal wound potential thanks to their sort of rending talons, and they also have the Rides of Wind Etheric ability, which allows them to sort of move 66 across the table. This can be really great for late game objective grabbing. All in all, though, this is like a really good start. It does only contain one battle line unit, as your Lord Aquila will need to be the general to make the Vanguard Hunters battle line. So that's something important to remember. Definitely when expanding upon this, and if you're looking to expand upon this straight away, the next unit you should be looking at adding to this force is another unit of Vanguard Hunters, or you can also choose to add Stormcast Liberators and Judicators, which will be battle line in the army due to being flat battle line and battle line when Stormcast Allegiance. And so Judicators actually do a pretty good job with the shooting, because you can pair them with your Griffhounds and make a cool little defensive unit bunker. But where do we really go to next then? So obviously after you've sort of picked your other battle line, where do we go? Well, my first pick is going to be the Knight Zephyros, or you can do the named character Neve Blacktalon if you're playing the Hammers of Sigmar Chamber. And Knight Zephyros is effectively a Stormcast assassin. They wield 2 axes and they sort of go hunting with them. What's really cool is you can pair this character up with your Lord Aquila and have them fling the assassin around with them around the table and just make some devastating destruction. There's some cool artifacts you can pop on this here to really make it effective. Like Sword of Judgment is a really fun one. That's from the Malign Sorcery artifacts. And definitely go look up what the Sword of Judgment does. It pairs pretty well with a Knight Zephyros. But it's just a really cool foot troop, and the model is fantastic. This was actually also the first female Stormcast model made as well. So that's really cool in its own right. The next unit I want to have a look at are the Vanguard Raptors. Now there's 2 types of Vanguard Raptors, and you can either have the guys pictured here which have the long strike crossbows, or you can also have Hurricane crossbows, which are much more sort of dense weapons. They also come with Aether Wings inside the box, and Aether Wings are a cool unit that really works well with Vanguard Hunters. They have some cool Vanguard Raptors. They have some cool abilities that work around with them, allowing them to sort of stop charge blocking and cause some shenanigans around that. The main difference between these 2 units is long strikes, as the name suggests, have a much longer range and do mortal wounds, while the Hurricane crossbows punch out a phenomenal amount of shots in game. Both have their units and uses, and they're really both pretty good. So it's sort of a pick and choose how your army's playing and what your current meta is. If you've got lots of light armored troops, I definitely suggest the Hurricane crossbows, and if you've got a lot of people with high armor save armies like Ossiarch Bone Reapers and all that, definitely suggest the long strikes. The next unit I want to suggest is looking at the Knight Azeroth and Knight Venator kit. The guy here I've got pictured is the Knight Azeroth, and he's the one I sort of suggest more having a look at, as he does a ability with his lantern where he can light up a unit that he sort of sees and allows you to reroll ones to hit against that unit. This pairs really well with your shooting units inside the army, and is just a really great idea for a shooting sort of heavy list, especially if you've got some Vanguard Raptors in your list. He'll pair really well with them. The Venator, on the other hand, is sort of like a bow-totting hero. He's got a one-shot arrow that can potentially do some really significant damage. It is pretty hit and miss though, so it's that one big shot, and if it misses, he does sort of become just a better sort of flying Judicator dude. The last thing I want to suggest though is taking a look at the Lord Arcanum on Gryph-charger. This will give you a Stormcast Wizard, so that's always good, and you're getting a Wizard. Now the issue with attaining this model is that he only comes in the starter set Soul Wars. You could probably find this guy though on a buy swap sell site or eBay or something like that pretty cheap and easy, so I suggest having a look there as well, instead of if you're not potentially wanting to buy the whole Soul Wars box. But the Soul Wars box is also a great addition as well. However, what's cool about this is he's on a Gryph-charger, so this means he can sort of roam around and do the Rides of Wind Etheric like the rest of your Gryph-charger stuff, and keep up with the rest of your army and just provide some magical support. This will of course also give you access to endless spells, and there's some really cool Stormcast endless spells. Things like the Everblaze Comet are just fantastic and really make your opponent's army have to split up. You can use this to great effect, splitting your opponents up and allowing your less powerful but still really effective Vanguard units to pick off your opponent piecemeal. But that's all I want to talk about with the Stormcast Eternals Vanguard Start Collecting box, and I'd like to know if you've got any thoughts about this box as well. Leave them in the comments below, and if you've got any questions, as most importantly, about this box, leave them down in the comments below as well. Lastly, if there's a Start Collecting box that we haven't done yet that you'd like to know a little bit more about, please leave that in the comments down below as well. And lastly, If you'd like to sort of chat more and come join our community, you can jump on the Sinful Gaming Discord. There'll be a link in the description down below where you can come join in our Discord and chat all things hobby. I'm on there most of the time at the moment. Unfortunately, I am out of work being a chef at the moment, but I'm always in there ready to chat to folks who want to learn some Warhammer and chat Warhammer. But that's all from me. Don't forget to like the video as well and subscribe to the channel. We're getting so close to 1,000 subscribers. It's amazing. And lastly, everyone, stay safe, stay well, and don't forget to keep fighting that war against the grey. I'll see you all again real soon.